PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who wants you to know you deserve a good night's sleep. That's one of the reasons I make the show, is you deserve a bedtime you could look forward to, a bedtime you don't dread. Another reason I make the show, and tons of other people listening right now, we know what it feels like in the deep, dark night. We might not know exactly what you're going through, but we can relate. And this podcast, it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't barely work for anybody on the first try. Give it a few tries, see how it goes. But it's time for the podcast that's recorded on an SD card. And I would hope SD stands for Sleepy Delight. But I think it stands, I don't even know what it stands for. Holy cow. First time today I learned I have no idea what SD card stands for. Small disk. Soon one of you will be letting me know, and I appreciate it, because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots, and I could really use your help. We're doing our yearly annual survey, and I'd be so grateful if you could take a few minutes and answer the survey. You could go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey, SURVEY. Fill out the survey, and there's a box towards the end where you could put in your thoughts about the show. So if there's anything you really wanted to let me know, something you want more of, you're looking for something a little bit different, I don't know. Let me know right in that box. Give me your feedback. But please take the time to fill out that survey. It's so useful for the health and long-term sustainability for the show. So fill that out at sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey. That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody. It is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you here. It's where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. That's how we're able to be here for you for free twice a week. And I want to thank Mackenzie and Avery, who supported Brooklyn and shared about it on Twitter, filled out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, told me about the classic bundle they bought, but they also amplified their support of the show. They let Brooklyn know their support of Sleep With Me works. So thank you, Mackenzie and Avery, for the support and keeping the podcast free for everybody. If you support a sponsor, tag them, tag me in a social media post. Fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, and I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The next part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're having a tough time, there's links to resources in the show notes that you could connect with right now. It's also about being a part of positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but learning more and taking action. There's links to resources where you could do that in our show notes. And we're part of a lot of different communities, but one of the community projects we're participating in as a group is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. You could join us. You could take part. I'm driving hygiene kits down to the Midnight Mission. We've got another partner coming up here. Help out. Have fun. Come to free live streams. What more could you ask for? Positive change and being a part of sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. All the instructions come through that email, and that's it. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Mystery Bard. Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the trance.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. We're going to do the rest. What we're going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts that you're thinking about, things on your mind. So thoughts, thinking thoughts, I don't know, confused thoughts, thoughts about the past, present, future. I don't know, I don't want. I hate you. The word fantasy gets misused so much, but so many of my thoughts are of a future that is unreal, like of painting a picture. Not always. I say, how come I can't paint a picture like that during the day? But I lie my head down and it's painting a picture. Oh boy! And sometimes that picture's unrealistically good, and sometimes it's the other end. Pictures of unreality. Stuff that seems real. That's, I don't know. But that's something that's, so thoughts, it could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally about those thoughts or that are just there. And I'll be honest, just keeping rolling with that. When I do take the time to be kind of like a loving presence, I say, like I said from Ruth King, I see you, dear one. Don't be afraid. I'm here to help. Tell me, or where are the thoughts coming from or whatever. I do see them a lot of times. They come from feelings or senses, like a sense of lack, as I talk about sometimes in other places or on the podcast. And they say, okay. And I can actually have some compassion and empathy. I don't know if that's super useful because at bedtime, that's during the day that happens. Bedtime's a little bit tougher. That's why I'm here. So it could be thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine, somebody visiting, you're going somewhere, you got something coming up, you got something going on. Whatever it is, I'm here to help to keep you company. And that's kind of the thing when when you're tired. Like during the day, I can kind of be more empathetic and compassionate sometimes and see that choice. But, they say when you're hungry, irritated, what is it? I don't know. Like, tired is the last one. But whatever it is, like, I don't know, there's like another one. But whatever, like if you're tired, it's a little bit harder to resist those thoughts. And they can feel irresistible at bedtime and loop us in. So that's what I'm here to do, is to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. So that you can fall asleep, because your sleep is important. You deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place you can rest. And I hope I can be a part of that for you. And I'll talk more about that. But what I'll do is I'll send my voice across the deep, dark night here. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. Oh, so creaky are my tones, like a door opening to a sleepy room, but you say that's an older door. I know it'll be good for dampening sound later. That's great once it's closed. So creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. Those you've already seen a few of those. That's where I go off topic. I get mixed up. I backtrack. Then I say, wait a second. And then I say, wait, I forgot what I was going to say. That kind of stuff. Those are pointless meanders. Superfluous tangents when I say, let's go on and on and on about that. So those are a couple ways I do it. Now, if you're new, a few things to know, very important stuff. Most people arrive at this podcast doubtful, skeptical, ambivalent, or just even more. You say, what is this? Somebody told me about this. It's not going how I expected. I'm tired. And I've tried a bunch of stuff, and that's how most listeners get here, because of course you're tired. Of course you're skeptical if you've tried a lot of different stuff. And of course you're even more skeptical because, what do you mean you care about me and my sleep? Or what is this? And I said, don't worry, I'm going to try to explain it to you because I'm here to earn your trust, to be your boyfriend so you can, lie down and get comfortable and drift off or listen to me barely. So if you're feeling any of those feelings, those are normal ways to get here. The show does take 2 or 3 tries to get used to. And when I say get used to it, it's like going from a relationship where you're unsure to being like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable just being myself. After 2 or 3 tries, you say, oh, I don't need to listen to this podcast. I just barely pay attention. Oh, listening's kind of passive. So just see how it goes. If you already know the show is not for you, I got a ton of great stuff, other sleep podcasts, other sleepy stuff listed at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you that you could always check out. That's like tons of cool podcasts and stuff like that you could fall asleep to. Because like I said, your sleep's important. You're important. That's why I make the show, because the world will be a better place if your world's a better place, if it's more manageable. And I also know how it feels in the deep, dark night. That's why I make the show. Trouble getting to sleep. I have all that stuff. What else do you need to know? Oh, this is a podcast you don't really listen to. I kind of talked about that. You just kind of barely pay attention. It's like a TV on in the other room or a party going on down the street, but far enough down the street that you don't mind. You can just barely hear it. And it's a party you don't want to be at. So you're like, sounds like a nice party, just far enough off. And that doesn't really very, very often happen. But when it's happened, you remember it, right? You say, okay. So there's that. So you don't really listen to me. I also am not here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff while you drift off. If you can't sleep, I'm going to be here to the very end for you to keep you company. That is my job, whether you're awake or asleep. Listening to the show is optional, but when you need to listen, you can, because I'll be here just barely making sense. So tonight we're going to do not a spelling bee, but a sleep with me version of a spelling bee, I guess, where we just spell words. And I guess I pontificate. I don't know how to spell that either. So that's so yeah, you don't really listen to me. I'm not really here to put you to sleep. Yeah, I'm here to be your boyfriend, your boy bae, your boy sib, your boy cuz, your boy bestie, your boy burr, your neighbor, your boyfriend in the deep dark night to keep you company, or whatever you're comfortable with. I could be across town even calling you, or, I could be across the world sending something like across the short waves. I mean, because I'm short a few waves, a couple of my waves are too long and a couple of them are too short. Though I do find waving to be a powerful technique for introverts. So just kind of see how it goes. I'm here to keep you company, take your mind off stuff. The other thing that throws people off is the structure of the show. The show is designed in a very deliberate way. And as you become a regular listener, you can repurpose or kind of, redesign the show to suit your needs. But let me explain to you why we make the show the way we do. It starts off with a greeting. That's kind of the most important part. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then I say something silly. So hopefully you feel seen and welcomed in. Because when I talk about that lack, that's one of the things I feel. I say, that's the opposite of that. So I really want to try to do that, even though it's this digital thing, to say, okay, I could go over there and check that out maybe. And that person's a little bit silly, so it's not going to be too serious. So that's the greeting. Then there's support for the show because kind of similar to the greeting, I would like the show to come out for free twice a week on any podcast platform, and that everybody works on the show gets compensated. So that's what the sponsors and the listener support do for the show. Make it sustainable to come out for free. So that's important to me. And so that's the sponsors and the support stuff. Then there's support for listeners who are having a tough time right now and support for communities around the show. Again, that's what makes the show sustainable, is staying engaged with everybody involved. So that's that part. Then there's an intro. Now, if some people like that don't like the support stuff, they project it onto the intro or assume that the whole intro is about supporting the show. No, the intro is a show within a show, lasts about 12 to 20 minutes, comes after the support stuff, which is what we're in now. And the whole goal of the intro is it's a familiar friend. So if you're a regular listener, you go, oh, Scoots is back. Who knows what he's going to talk about? Will it make any sense? Who knows? So there's that. And then there's, so that's for a regular listener. But for a new listener, it's introducing the podcast to you in an inefficient way, of course, because that's kind of the style of the show. But for everyone, the intro is a chance to get ready for bed or to start your wind down routine. My wind down routine's about an hour. So I don't know if the intro is going to be a start of your wind down routine or in the middle or at the end. But all the stuff I've ever read about sleep and practice that has worked is having a wind down routine, having a buffer between your day, your evening, and falling asleep. I've rarely ever been able to just fall asleep. And when I do that, it's like, in the middle of a presentation or something, or I'm supposed to be listening and it's a warm room or whatever. Those are the only times I just fall asleep. Otherwise, I need a wind down routine. I need a landing strip. And ideally, that's what the intro can do for you. Some listeners are in bed. Some listeners are asleep. We're so happy for them. 2% of listeners start the show at 20 or 30 minutes. A few thousand people pay to just listen to story-only episodes. So those are a couple different ways you use it. But at first, you just listen because the intro, I don't know, there's more people that listen to only intros than listen to story-only episodes. It's pretty close. So kind of just see how it goes and what's going to work for you. But that's the intro. Then there's support again between the intro and the show. Again, because so the podcast can be sustainable and come out for free versus only being on one platform or something like that, or being a part of a company like a premium only. I want the show to come out twice a week for free. Then there'll be our story. Tonight it'll be some sort of, don't worry, if you have spelling, if you don't like spelling, don't worry, because it'll be, yeah, don't worry. So there'll be spelling, it'll be talking about words. That's what we'll be doing. And then there's thank yous at the end. So this is the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really appreciate your time. I couldn't do it without all of you. And yeah, I'm glad you're here. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways I'm able to do this for you for free twice a week. All right, buddy, it's Scoots here, and this is interesting. I can't believe we've never done an episode about this, but I can't remember ever doing an episode about this, and so this will be a little bit of a setup here, but so I just took Koa for a walk, about 45 minutes ago. And I was listening to the intro for what's scheduled to be episode 1071, Spice Friends 10. Will it be episode 1071? I don't know. But I do know that I was listening and it came up. I was talking about the word Bouillabaisse. And I was listening to myself expound on pointless meanders around Bouillabaisse and how hard it, like how that's not a that's a sight word for me. No chance of me spelling it. Maybe you don't know this and maybe I can normalize it for some people, but I have like dyslexia, and it wasn't like it was something I always talked about. Like I never was tested for it as a child or even a young adult. And it wasn't until like adulthood that someone was practicing giving out tests as part of their education or their graduate education. And they gave me a test. And then I said, see, I knew I was a dyslexic. And like, not a big deal, but it just means, I don't know what it means. I thought I'd just share that for you in case you've ever felt that way. And you could feel that way about something else. You say, well, a lot of times, yeah, like it's, but for me, the dyslexia is just one of those things where it's like, oh, well, why can't you just like memorize how to spell it or something? They say, well, my brain just doesn't quite work that way. But what I do want to do is look, so the idea for the episode. So the idea for the episode was that, I said, I've never done a episode based on the archetypal concept of a spelling test. Now, don't worry if you're like me. I mean, because I'm sure that, like, there's all sorts of people having experience with spelling tests, right? And I totally understand that. So I'm going to make this sleepy as possible, and it won't really be about spelling. It'll be about pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. So what I'm going to do is grab my research, and then I'll be right back. So without further ado, I want to welcome you to the Scoots Scriptless Spelling Bee, where I'll be the only contestant, and I'll be, there'll be silent people, so it'll be structurally a bit like the Spelling Bees of Fame, but oh boy, and I probably will also have to go on a tangent about where I'm getting my lists of words from, because that'll make it fun as well, hopefully. But this first word comes from the intro from Spice Friends 10, I think, Bouillabaisse. Bouillabaisse. I'm looking at the word so I know the correct spelling, and I actually have the definition. It's a provincial fish stew from France. And bouillabaisse is spelled Bouill. Bouilla. So that bouille. Is it bouillabaisse or bouillabaisse? Babaisse. Beautiful word. Beautiful spelling. I know, like, I don't eat, I'm allergic to crustaceans, so I don't have a lot of bouillabaisse, but I love saying bouillabaisse. And bouillabaisse has broth, broth-based bouillabaisse. If I created my own subgenre of EDM, it would be called bouillabaisse, broth, something like that. So now let's hop over to some of these words that are hard to spell. This is from dictionary.com. 33 hard words to spell. This was January 19th, 2022. And it's necessary. I start with the word necessary because it's spelled necessary, Necessary. And it's a double consonant, does not change how the word is pronounced. That's what makes it hard to spell. The two S's. This is where actually I'm at an advantage sometimes with necessary, because I know the length of the word because it's a sight word for me. So if it was missing the S, I might add two C's, but I could add two S's because I know it's necessary to be a longer word when it's a sight word, which just means I see the word as a picture, or what you would call a picture. That is the how it's spelled. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't even know if it's correct. This is just my experience in trying to translate something that's almost untranslatable in my mind. But I'm pretty sure when I see necessary, I just see the whole word, and it's the sum of its parts, but I don't necessarily see the parts, I guess. So when I have to break it into its component parts, that's when it gets interesting. And, a lot of people say, you're taking a whole episode to make it about you. And I say, oh boy, that's my middle name, is making it about me. I know, and it's a bit narcissistic, right? NARCISSISTIC, narcissistic, which is similar to necessary. I guess it's got that double S. And CNS is narcissistic. And I guess it comes from Greek. But yeah, narcissistic. I'm familiar with Narcissus, which they just add the tick in there. And, there's rarely an occasion where I don't. I mean, it's just part of who I am. I guess I have the maybe the shadow side of narcissism, where I tend to make it more about me negatively a lot of times. But it's about what, like I've learned from the podcast, it's like about the occasions that we could relate to with one another, like the occasions we find ourselves strolling in the deep, dark night trying to spell occasion, OCCASION. This features a C and an S. They're not making the same S sound, but it's a hard C, like a K that can make it hard with a double C. So that's occasion. You know what I finally learned is that, but I never did it at one of my jobs, was to ask to be accommodated, or for, like, I say, hey, can you accommodate me with what I'm going on? Because, as my job changed to my last day job, like, I was supposed to make some presentations and some reports, but I was always de-accommodating me because I didn't want to ask, for help. That's ACCOMM, ODATE, ODATE. So that uses a double C and a double M, but it's the vowels, according to this, that are tough. Accommodate sounds like it could be spelled with 3 O's. Accommodate. Or maybe a U, but there's no U's in the first letters an A. Now, this is a word I would get this, like a consonant and the vowel mixed up on. And, but it's also something one of my siblings, I consider it his hobby, is a vacuum, a VACUUM. I think I would probably be tempted to do VACCUM. But its vacuum, instead of a double C, it's got a rare double U. Other words, continuum and moo. M-U-U-M-U-U. Oh, yeah, moo. Okay. Continuum also is CONTINUUM. UUM. I love saying, there's something we already found we could love, very sleepy. UUM. UUM. That could be a character somewhere. Old UUM. It could be EU. Not EU. I mean, like, well, isn't there an emu? An emu named EU. Or an emu named UU. UUM. I'm an emu. And from Inu, named UUM. And that word comes from vacus, which means empty, which also is a W in Latin. And you know what I like to do? If I was going to vacuum and enjoy it, maybe I'd like not only use the accessory on the vacuum, but maybe wear a few accessories. Because accessory is another word that's supposedly hard to spell. ACCESSORY. Now, that one I might have a dyslexic advantage because there's double consonants, which is kind of again, that has the accessory has a certain length and it's almost like when you see one of those pictures and they're like, what's different in this picture and the other picture? And I say, okay, like accessory's missing something. And unlike accommodate, where the double C makes a single K sound, accessory, the first C makes a K sound and the second C makes an S sound. Accessory. Accessory. So it's accessory. I'm learning stuff, throwing a double S, and it's a real challenge. Now, there's a lot of, when it comes to UK-based espionage, there's a lot of broccoli. But you know who loves broccoli in this house? My dog, Koa. If you're new to the show, or you just want a cute reminder, Koa, my dog, loves broccoli. She loves it like, I've never done a test because I don't think it would be nice for her to choose between like a dog biscuit or a dog treat and broccoli. Just because she loves broccoli so much, does she get broccoli every day? No. That's one of those things that's been on my to-do list for 20 or 30 years, is to have broccoli every day. Never hit that, but, twice a week is pretty good. Inko also likes broccoli stems. She's big into cruciferous vegetables. I don't know how much cauliflower I've given her. But, if you're breaking kale down, she'll eat the kale stems or she'll have kale. I think broccoli's her preferred thing. Cooked broccoli, a little bit easier to consume, a little bit less, gasserific or something. I don't know if that's going to be on the spelling word. Oh, but broccoli, how do you spell it? For the love of Barbara Broccoli. It's Broccoli. And it's from the Italian. It features a double C to make a K sound, and you might want a Y or an EE to make that Lee sound, but it's just an LI. And that one's not quite as hard for me, I guess, but I don't know, I haven't spelled it in a while. Speaking of vegetables and foods, zucchini's up next, Zucchini. And here's something I learned the hard way. I like zucchini. This was before the podcast, but I cooked, I burned my daughter out of zucchini. Because especially like now in the East Coast, like zucchini, summer zucchini, summer squashes, you could get bigger and you cut them up and you can grill them or fry them or bake them. In the West Coast, I found, especially in the supermarket, you get more like hot dog size zucchini, but you can cut them into medallions and fry them. They don't have, when you fry them, like a little flash fry, they tend to have a little bit of a tannic, bitter flavor that I don't necessarily associate with my childhood, which was that clean, watery flavor of a zucchini. And I think that was what did it for my daughter, is like that bitterness, which I could still overcome because if you get the right al dente zucchini cook, it has a wonderful mouthfeel that it is its own reward. Because you say, how could this be so watery? It's like a watermelon almost. And it's also a word that apparently is from Italian and hard to spell. It's got an I to make an EE sound, a double C to make a K sound. In UK, which comes from France, courgette. Thank you for writing that out for me. See, that's spelled like cougar, though. Courgette. Courgette. Never knew how to pronounce that till today. I'm not even sure. How about spaghetti? While we're talking about stuff, I think I should be able to reliably spell that one again as a sight word. S-P-A-G, maybe not though. That S-P-A-G, H-E-T-T-I I can probably get. That's an Italian origins, letter I at the end of a word. In Italian indicates that's plural. Single of spaghetti is spaghetto. Silent H could throw you off. Yeah. I'm more worried about the spag, I guess, because I don't say spaghetti, spa. Oh, because that's another way to pronounce A, apparently, that I probably should have learned in second grade. Someone laughed not that long ago when I told them I actually do throw spaghetti against the wall to see if it's done. And, but I don't eat a lot of pasta. And I mean, nowadays, most of the pasta I'm eating is like a whole grain or quinoa or brown rice pasta, which I should probably eat some more of because my daughter likes it too. Embarrass. Now, this one, I guess at first glance would be easy, but it's not. EMBARRASS. I didn't realize there was I'm not kidding. I mean, I probably knew it, but that there's an ass instead of embarrass. It's like, for me, you could say anytime I go anywhere, I'm embarking on being asinine. So I do put, what comes first? Embarking. I'm at home, but then when I leave home, I'm embarrassing myself. Embarrassing myself. What's that? Embarrassing myself. I don't know what that accent is. It just popped up in my brain. But it's EMBARRASS. Did I already say that? I may have embarrassed myself again. One thing that might help you is the ending. It sounds like us, but it's spelled, well, ass. The double R and the double S. Yes, bar. Ass. It's adopted from the Portuguese. Embarcar. Embaracar. Yeah. Via French, embarrasser. Bourbon. I know how to spell that, even though it wasn't my thing. But now when I see it, I mean, there's a lot of fake, like, imitation bourbon or whatever, and like, or bourbon flavoring now and stuff, like ice cream and stuff. Bourbon, bourbon. That's a French word. Speaking of French, charcuterie, right? Charcuterie. That's a charcuterie, or charcuterie, if you're big, if you've been in Lake Erie or the Erie Canal, that's what I'm familiar with. Charcuterie. The French have a different system of spelling, which can make it confusing. In French, the letters char are pronounced shahir. I don't know what that means. Charcuterie. I think I just got it right. Charcuterie. Cooked process, this is like cheese and like the charcuterie, charcuterie would be the meats on a meat plate, I think. Meat and cheese plate. I accidentally got one of those one time when I was ordering lunch somewhere, and they gave me they gave me that thing, and I said, I didn't order this, and they said, yeah, you did, and I said, but I didn't pay for it, and they said, it's on your order. Not like, I don't know, maybe that never happens to me, but it didn't happen to me on this case, but I think that'd be pretty sly, especially for someone sober like me, if I was like to, send a cheese plate to someone. What if, but they're like, I don't eat dairy. That's what would happen to me. I don't eat meat or dairy. Thank you. And they said, well, I was going to send you a drink, but I know we both don't drink. So, I say, yeah, but I also don't eat dairy or meat or cheese or, also then you see, even if it went well, they'd say your breath smells like salami and, but like whatever, charcuterie breath is not romantic. There's a piece of wisdom. That's probably the biggest piece of wisdom you'll ever get. Charcuterie is not, I think I went on a date. This was before I got sober too. And, I think it was the second date when I was like, okay, where is this going? And like, I hadn't even, like, I was like, the person that let me know, she was like, oh, let's go on another date. Cause I was like, I don't know how that went. Wonderful person. But it was like, I was like, I don't know how that went. And then they said, hey, are we going to go out again? And I said, yeah. Oh yeah. Like, it was someone I found. It was one of those times where you're like, if somebody's cool and you're attracted to them, but there wasn't a connection, probably because I was still out there exploring my, I was not boyfriend material, I will say. But this is probably another example of that. Is like, this was we stopped at some place to get just a drink because we were hiking or something. And after the hike, I got a kombucha, another word hard to spell probably. Yeah, let's look that up because I have no idea how to spell it. And there's another beverage never, like, the only thing worse would be if you had a kombucha with a charcuterie and a cheese plate. And then and then you had hot dogs or something. If I could get this stuff imprinted in my brain to remember, kombucha is KOMBUCHA. Stuff never to drink or eat on dates. Or you're married when, but probably don't have those when you're, like, you can have those when you're married, but not on date night or like anything within 3 hours of when you think there's going to be love in the air. I mean, my advice from somebody that his advice is, well, I'm an expert at making these mistakes so you don't have to make them. Some people would say I'm an entrepreneur in bad decision making, and that's ENTREPRENEUR. I knew this was French because of the entrepreneur. It starts with an A sound. You may think it includes an A, but that's not the case. That one I definitely can't spell because it's just I think the EUR at the end, entree, pre, newer. I'd have I can't separate that out for some reason. Like I can do it while I'm looking at it and we're talking about it, but then when I close my eyes, can't do it. Liaison. I need a spelling liaison. Liaison. Owan. This is fun. I didn't realize, I can't believe it took us, whatever, 1,000 and almost 1,100 episodes to do this. Thank you. Liaison is Liaison. Another French word. You may be tempted to spell it phonetically, liaison. But much like the I at the end of Italian words, the I in French can make the EE sound. Remember, liaison has two I's. That makes sense. Because if you're having, like, seriously, that's, dictionary.com, you could hire me for these quips. Probably price you out, but you need two I's to have a liaison. In more than, like, because, like, even, or four I's, but you need two I's in quotes. But two I's would help start a liaison, because, oh boy, there's a liaison I'd like to have. Or when I see spelling, I say, could use a spelling liaison. My two I's aren't going to cut it, so I need, then I need another metaphor to spell liaison. But I know I see, or you just say, I see liaison with two I's. That's easy. Yeah, so we could just change that to, you need two I's to see liaison. Connecticut is on here. Connecticut. I can see that's hard to spell. Connect, I cut, is how it's spelled. It comes from the Mohegan Pequot language and means upon the long river. Connecticut. It goes right into Massachusetts. MASS ACHUSETTS. That's Algonquin. That's from Algonquin at the large hill. This one's challenging for everybody, or for a lot of people, and a lot of times people get made fun of because they pronounce this the wrong way. Epitome or epitome, right? And I've said it. I'm sure I've said epitome on the podcast before, because it does. I mean, that's a epitome. And when I say epitome, that's what I feel like inside. Epitome, or please pity me. No, I don't want pity though. I just say I feel like I'm epitome. That's where I feel like I am. Epitome. That's from the Greek. Epitome. IH. How do you say that? Epitome. One reason is similar Italian. All the vowels from Greek words are pronounced. No silent E's here. Epitome. 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 Indict. You'll indict my spelling. Indict. INDICT. I guess because it doesn't have, you don't pronounce the letter C in this word. Really? Oh, dict. I guess it depends on how you pronounce your C's. It's related to dictate, D-I-C. Did I say I-N-D-I-C-T? D-I-C-T-A. D-I-C-T-A-T-E is dictate. Oh boy, we're getting into some good ones here. Gnaw. Gnaw has a G. G-N-A-W. We've seen T-H and silent C. Gnaw. I love that word. That sounds, gnaw. Gnaw. It just sounds good to say. And it depends on what you're gnawing. But if it's a metaphorical or figurative word, it's like, yeah, I got to gnaw on that, or, you know, I don't know. Phlegm. Holy, what a gorgeous word. Gorgeous word, in my opinion. P-H-L-E-G-M. Phlegm. Phlegm. It sounds lovely to say, lovely to look at. If I could have an affair with a word, non-figuratively, you say, no meaning. It's going to be a meaningless romance because I don't want the meaning behind you. It would be phlegm. I choose to love phlegm, but not the word phlegm. I'm in love with the word phlegm, I'll tell you. Like, it's a meaningless affair, please, but I'm in love with you, phlegm. Phlegm, I love you, because, I don't know, just looking at you, PHLEGM, phlegm. Silent G's do not only appear at the beginning of words, they can show up in the endings as well. Phlegm, F-L-E-M is how it's said. It uses the letters PH to make a FF sound and comes from the Greek, phlegm and phone. But yeah, I'm in love. I'm having a meaningless romance with phlegm. Paradigm. I shifted the paradigm. I said, you said, can you do that? I said, in my mind, I can do it. But I mean, don't ask any more questions than that. I just meant be in love with phlegm and have loving, like a meaningless, I have a longing for phlegm. Let's just say that, but not a meaningless longing for, I have a meaningless longing for phlegm. So I shifted the paradigm, Paradigm. So don't spell it dime, even though it's said dime, it's digm. From the Greek, paradeima, maybe deigma. Island, this letter S is silent, island. It's from isle, isle. You know what's going to get you is, I think it was Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine, but it could have just been Gloria Estefan, which we should look up right now. Gloria is Gloria, but Estefan is Estefan. I'm surprised, people, like, that's a pretty cool name to have if you have fans, because you'd say, or you could say, because este is a masculine this, right? And I wonder what famosa, I don't know what fan is, but you could say, I'm a fan of, I'm this fan of Gloria Estefan, but is correct pronunciation. But the rhythm would get you tonight is RHYTHM. Is two H's, one is silent, and the other is using a diphthong, TH. It sounds like it should have a U. Oh, it doesn't have a U. Oh, interesting. Rhythm. But it doesn't. Comes from the Greek rhythmos. But I mean, I think, let's see if we can figure out a way to help us spell this one. Rhythm. It's 6 letters. Gloria has 7 letters, so that doesn't help us. Estefan has 7 letters. Rhythm, one less letter than the letters in either part. Gloria. Is that, I don't know. Now I'm Gloria. That's 6, dude. Oh, thanks. Sorry, I was counting on my fingers, and I did it wrong. There's 35 minutes. This is like, this could be like one of the loosest episodes we've ever done. So, Gloria and rhythm have the same, I don't know if that'll be helpful. There's a song, Gloria, that used to, I don't know, like, there's also another song about Gloria, because I had a crush on a teacher named Gloria, kind of, when I was a little kid, prepubescence. So, and because she was also just nice to me. Wednesday, this is a tough one. I never get this one. Wednesday, Wednesday, day, Wednesday. Okay, because I always think I mix up the E and the N. Wednesday, the Old English. keeping Woden or Odin in mind is a good way to remember that pesky D. Wednesday. That's how I don't know how I'll remember it. 8 is a homophone of the past participle of eat. 8, E-I-G-H-T. But that's not the only thing confusing. I-G-H-T is normally for bright and tight. But 8, it's got that 8. How about acquiesce? It's another word with some letters. Acquiesce, A-C-Q-U-I-E-S-C-E. Let's see what else. Conscience. I'm trying to get through this list. I thought it only had 20 words, but it seems like it has more. I thought it said 30. Maybe it said 33, but conscience, C-O-N-S-C-I-O-U-S, grateful, G-R-A-T-E, full, grateful. So just, that one's easy. Go back to charcuterie. When I grate my cheese, I'm grateful. I won't be kissing anyone when I'm grating this hard cheese. I'm grateful. Yeah, so there. That's how I could find my gratitude for say I'm grateful. Separate is separate, S-E-P-A-R-A-T-E. The second vowel sound is spelled with an A and not a U or an E, even though it does sound like that sometimes. And then finally, their last word is lightning, L-I-G-H-T-N-I-N-G. L-I-G-H-T-N-I-N-G. The unusual combination of T-N may throw you off. However, adding an E would make it lightening, which is a different word to lighten, Okay, so that's those words there. I got tons of research, so let's see what else we can get through here. Okay, this one is from StaffordHouse.com, Stafford House International blog. Alex Levantis, May 16th, 2020. 10 common English words with weird spellings. This is a tough one. This is a good one. Thorough. T-H-R, or through. Oh, no, that's through, maybe. I don't know. Through. Yeah, T-H-R, T-H rough, T-H-R-O-U-G-H. Can be an adjective, the hallway ran through the room, or preposition, the printer is through the blue door. But when you look at the phonetics, through or through, it could be, but it's through. In the U.S., some people spell it T-H-R-U. And I mispronounce it thorough. But I say, if you know who the New Kids on the Block are, you'd say rough. I don't know why I thought of New Kids on the Block, because it's the right stuff, baby, they sing. Why do you think of thorough? Oh, rough. I think they say something. Maybe it's just the right stuff. So I have no idea what I'm talking. I've totally. Well, it's funny. Okay, these are good ones. Q. That's a hard one. Like you might think it's K-E-W, which is an area in London. But how do you say it? Like spelled Q-U-E-U-E. I mean, that's important for theme parks because you got to get in line. They call it a queue. You're queuing up or you're in a queue. Q-U-E-U-E, Q. Occurred, O-C-C-U-R-R-E-D. Mortgage, M-O-R-T, gauge. That's a sight word, I think. I see it so many times. Mortgage. So just think of someone named Mort gauging your interest rate. Mortgage. Jeopardy. These again are sight words in the U.S., I guess. G-E-O-P-A-R-D-Y. I lost, I just think of Weird Al. I lost on Jeopardy, baby. Colonel, C-O-L-O-N-E-L. I guess, again, in the U.S., we see that like on advertisements, but kernel definitely doesn't sound like Kernel. Need is a tricky one. Knead is a homophone as with need, Need. Like C and C, P and P, night and night, sure and shore, shore and shore, depending on pronunciation. Indict, did we do that one? Indict, yeah, we did. Handkerchief, that's a good one. Or handkerchief, wow, this is a tough one. Handkerchief, so I guess that one you have to think of, if your sneeze is a kerchief, then you say, I'm going to hand you a kerchief for your sneeze. Handkerchief, handkerchief, silent D, handkerchief, handkerchief. So they say, who's got that sound? So that's from Stafford House. That's good. Okay, this one is from readersdigest.com, rd.com, Megan Jones, January 20th, 2022. Dilate, there's a good one. Only 6 letters, Dilate. People dilate, I don't know. Dilate, oh, here's a beautiful, this is a word, not quite as gorgeous as that other word I fell in love with, which is whose name I forgot. It was a word that stood for something you wouldn't want to be, like gaseous, but it wasn't gaseous. This is liquefy. Not quite as gorgeous as that other word that I had yearned for so much, so mindlessly, that liquefy, Liquefy, liquefy. Last 3 letters throw people off, EFY, because it sounds like pacify, clarify, specify, rectify. But no, it's Liquefy, meaning to become liquid. Wednesday, we get sherbet. Here's another one we haven't gotten yet. Sherbet, H-S-A. Sorry, I already mispronounced it or misspelled it. S-H-E-R-B-E-T. Sherbet, sherbet, sometimes I say. Sherbet. So that's hard to say because it's an Americanization of sorbet. Sherbet. Let's see, both come from the Turkish word serbet, S-E-R-B-E-T. And you can read a lot more, but sherbet is how people pronounce it in different regions of the U.S. Sherbet. Yeah, sherbet is how they said it in Syracuse. Sherbet. Bologna. You know what they say about me a lot of times? It's bologna. B-O-L-O-G-N-A. I think for like 20 or 30 years in the U.S., people would spell out that word. So in the U.S., but it's from Bologna, right? Bologna is how you say the place in Italy. I don't think I've had any, like that was one of the things I never ate, though I know it's popular. There's like, that's very similar to some other things where I could taste other ingredients in there or something. Playwrights on here. Used to go to this bar called The Playwright to drink when I was, not all the time, but especially if I was meeting people from out of town. I think it closed too. It's called The Playwright. Playwright is Playwright. Playwright. It's in the 1660s, people who produced plays were workers who wrought plays. W-R-O-U-G-H-T. That's a nice word, wrought. Holy cow. Rather than the people that wrote them. So if you wrought something, you were considered a write. This is beautiful stuff. This is why I love this. So if you wrought something, W-R-O-U-G-H-T, you were considered a write, W-R-I-G-H-T. What if you wrought like, you know, that thing that's not Casper, but there's another word for it, white, and I think that's a GH. Like, what if you wrought, you wrought a right, so you're a white right. That's that's a character in D&D. And also right, W-R-I-G-H-T, is another homophone for right, W-R-I-T-E. Fuchsia. Oh, boy. Holy mackerel. That's a good-looking word. Fuchsia. Fuchsia. Man, that's beautiful. This is beautiful. That's a beautiful color, beautiful word. Fuchsia. Just lovely to say, too. Fuchsia. What was the word, though, that I was in love with? I can't believe it was like 10 minutes ago. Was it polyglot? P-O-L-Y-G-L-O-T. No, I guess not. But I guess I've gone polyglot on my word romances. I really wish I'll look it up. Minuscule. Wow. Did I spell fuchsia? F-U-C-H-S-I-A. Minuscule. There's another. Man, I'm not trying to be too, like, but minuscule is nice too. M-I-N-U-S-C-U-L-E. It comes from Latin minus, or minus, meaning less, but it bears no linguistic relation to mini or miniature. Minuscule. It's not minuscule, no matter how much logic would suggest. Oh, they have the actual F-U-C-H. Huh. Oh, they have the misspelling and the correct minuscule. Oh, there's a U where people would put an I. Okay. Okay, ingenious. It has an O, so ingenious, but add an O. Because if you're around a genius, you're probably saying, oh, you're a genius, eh? There you go. I-N-G-E-N-I-O-U-S. It's so similar in sound and meaning that people, and I guess it is hard if you're looking at it and you're dyslexic, you say ingenious, but I think maybe that's sacrilegious. My spelling has been considered sacrilegious. No chance in planet Earth I'd ever spell this word right. I wouldn't even get the incorrect spelling, but it's S-A-C-R-I-L-E-G-I-O-U-S. Because people would put sacrilegious, which totally makes sense. But it comes from sacrilege, not religious. Beautiful, beautiful writing, Reader's Digest. I like this. It came from Latin of sacred and legere, accommodate. Put an extra C up in there. AC, because, you know, extra comfort, accommodate. Extra comfort, A-C-C-O-M-M, O-date, accommodate. We did that one already, though. Oh, boy, here's another good one. Orangutan. Orangutan. O-R-A-N-G-U-T-A-N. Beautiful. That's another one. Bornean primates. It's from Malay, O-R-A-N-G, or for man or forest, but it has been anglicized, orangutan. Oh, hutan for forest, orang for man and hutan for forest. I just want to thank all you for allowing me to be so mischievous and keep you company. Mischievous. So this one, no chance of me smelling this one either. M-I-S-C-H-I-E-V-O-U-S. Makes me think of sous vide for some reason. Have you pronounced this word mischievous a whole bit? Even maybe you pronounce it that way. It's incorrect. It's mischievous, chivos, or something. I don't know. Mischief. But that's our gubernatorial. So people usually do it with governor, but I say goober anyway. So gubernator, I can't even say it. Gubernatorian. Nope, that's not correct. Gube, I was reading it off the thing, miscorrect, like Gubernatorial. So the word governor, but no UB or T in it. So where do we get this wacky thing? It's closer to governor than the origin of the word. Both words come from the Latin gubernator or governor. Acquiesce. I think we did acquiesce. Let's spell it one more time. Is that like I'd acquiesce? ACQUIESCE. I wish I was more conscientious about the words I fall in love with. CONSCIENTIOUS. Maybe I could even put it together, some paraphernalia to give as a gift. PARAPHERNALIA. Paraphernalia. Sounds like the end of it, like a come on line for words. Paraphernalia. Sorry, it's onomatopoeia. 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 It's a technique where a word mimics a sound, like in a comic book, or when Antonio Banderas is on the show and he says, swoosh, I think, between 8 vowels and the fact you only need half the letters to make the pia sound, I'm going to onomatopoeia. So let me just, that's everything. I do want to apologize. I guess I got to make an apology to one word, which I've embarrassed myself as an entrepreneur. Charcuterie? And that's not who I was in love with, though, was it? Wasn't epitome. It's gnawing at me. Oh, phlegm. I'm sorry, phlegm. It was gnawing at me, though, phlegm, that I couldn't remember you. But it's because just your meaning is so contradictory to your, like, the way you sound and look. So I'm sorry I forgot you, phlegm. I'm sure I won't. I'm sure I'll be paid back with extra phlegm soon. But thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for letting me make an experimental episode. I think this went pretty well. So maybe we'll do more spelling soon. Thanks and good night. All right. I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Andrew, Jessica, and Kevin. Thanks, and good night. Rachel, Will, and Renee. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Nicole, Mary Kay, and Rose. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Luke, Noel, and Aaron. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jennifer, Lily, and Katie. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kaylee, Diana, and Melissa. Thanks, and good night. Kyle, Robert, and Rachel. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Yvette, Sarah, and Nicole. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Colleen, Sarah, and Brandon. Thanks, and good night. Tim, Stacy, and Craig. Thanks, and good night. Lucinda, Hannah, and Colleen. Thanks, and good night. Charlotte, Grant, and Hannah. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Hannah, Camille, thank you. Thanks, and good night. A lot of different types of Hannahs out there. Thanks everybody for supporting the show. Sleep With Me literally is here in your ears because of the patrons I just listed, the people that support the show on a monthly or annual basis, and then the people who support the sponsors. That's how we're able to be here for you free twice a week. So I thank everybody. We grow by people spreading the word, being a part of our community, spreading the word about podcasting, just telling people about podcasts, showing them how to use a podcast app. So I appreciate that. And we've grown to over almost 500 shows for free in the free feed because of sponsors like this Tuck You In sponsor coming up. Thanks, everybody.